What up, YouTube? My name is Tiago Duarte, and I'm here in the live session. Let me just make this a little bit better. And yeah, welcome to the live session. My name is Tiago Duarte from Daily Beats, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about some of the questions that I see in my comments, and also that you can post questions. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. I will see them and answer them here in FL Studio, or I can talk about any other DAWs. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so that you don't see my image. And that's it. So again, a new live stream, and I want to make this more consistent so that I have more people joining and coming in and asking questions, because I want to know what are your questions, and I want to help you figure out how to be a better producer. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys are doing well, are doing fine. I'm here. I already did some of my tutorials, and I'm ready for the live stream. My voice is a little bit, I don't know what's the word, but yeah, it is what it is. I have here my water, so I can have my words correctly lubricated, if that's the correct word or whatever. It is what it is. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat. I have a couple of questions that I collected from my members, and I will be answered them. So if you want to ask other questions, be sure to let me know. Just quick announcement. I will start doing these live shows more often. So every Saturday, I will be doing a live show at around 6 p.m. And this is a GMT plus 2 hours. And this is Berlin or Stuttgart time. And I think maybe Paris also, not sure. But if you want to start joining, that's the time that I'm going to do these live streams. And you can, if you don't have questions right now, you can ask a question in the next one, or in the one after that one, or the one after that one, and so on. So that's the plan. Start doing more of these live streams so that I can have a better feeling for what you want, what are your questions, and understand you a little bit better and see what you guys are all about, because that's the point of this channel, is to help you out and making better music. So let's, since we don't have anyone in the chat right now, people coming and going, no one leaving questions, I'm going through some of the questions that I have so far here in the chat, or that I collected from my subscribers. And there's 3 questions that I have here that I will try to answer the best that I can. And let's switch back to, not this one, to FL Studio here. Let me make this a little bit, no, not that one. FL Studio a little bit larger, like that. And so the first question that I have was to a video that I did on MIDI controllers. And this is basically how to set up and record MIDI. So the first thing that you have to set up in FL Studio is your MIDI controllers. And as you've seen in my other videos in my channel, you will see that I've recently bought the Arturia Keylab 61. I also have that keyboard there, which is M Audio Keystation 61. I had to look it up, and it's somewhere around there. That's the name, and that's why I had to look it up. And I also have this one here, which is the what's the name of that one? FL Studio Fire. I think it's Fire, or Akai Fire. And I really like that device. It's all MIDI devices. And there's a couple of more stuff that I have here for MIDI, but this is what I have right now that I can show you. And my Keylab 61, so the first thing that you have to do is plug it in. And usually it's plug and play, so you don't have to install anything. And you have to go here to options. Oops, let me switch to FL Studio. You have to go here to options, MIDI settings. And this is where you have all of your stuff here. And as you can see, I also have a Focusrite USB. I have Focusrite Scarlett 6i6. So that's the interface that I have here in my studio. And as you can see here, I have Arturia Keylab 61 and is enabled. And we have a 0 there, meaning that this is connected to port 0. So that's the basic configuration that you have to do. You have to go here, input and setup. You don't necessarily have to have a port here, as you can see, port 0, but you have to have it enabled. So if I click now on my keyboard, you will see that wheel there, or that knob, going orange. And this means that I'm playing the note on and off, and this is C5, and it tells me the velocity. In this case, 97. If I do it very gentle, 20. If I do it really hard, 123. So if I go here and I disable the Arturia Keylab, I'm still clicking, but you don't see any information there. So the first thing that you have to do is plug it in and then come here to the input devices and put enable. And in the Arturia Keylab, I have it at port 0 because for me to control the plugins, I also have to set up at port 0 in every individual plugin so that I can have them work together. So that's it. And what else? After you have those configurations, you might also want to have this here set up in the same port, but it's not necessarily. So you can just have it like that at 0 and it will work fine. And even if I click now, you see that we still get some MIDI notes. So if I go to the channel rack and I open, let's say, Arturia Keylab or Analog Lab 4, this plugin takes a while, so I might need a new computer to make it faster. But yeah, this is the plugin. So if I play something, you see that I have the note there also, and it's playing for this plugin. So if I change the plugin, it gives me something different. So now if I want to control all of these parameters, that's why I have that 0 port. So I can go here, input port 0, and then if I go back, and if I switch this to Analog Lab, now I can manage to move the plugin, the faders that I have in my keyboard and stuff, and you can see these moving around, and that's why I need that port 0. But you don't necessarily have to put any port. If I put this at 0 or nothing, if I click on the keyboard, it still works. But now if I move the faders, nothing moves. That's why I need this at port 0 so that I can control Analog Lab. But mostly you don't need it. Second thing is, that's it. You are done in terms of setup. The next thing that you have to do is to record stuff. To record stuff, there's some things that you have to do. The first thing is enable the record button, and you have to be careful here. So sometimes you might get a window like this telling you what do you want to record. So let's say you want to record audio in the first try, and you set this one here. Don't ask me this in future. So what happens is that every time you click in that button, it will always only record audio into Edison. And if you want to play keyboard and if you want to record MIDI, you have to go and do notes and automation. So if you have this, don't ask me this in the future. Every time you click on this button, and if you select this for the first time, it will stay the default option. So that's why I leave this always open. And you might have also some of the options in your, like I have in my keyboard, I have a transpose section. And if I click on record, you see that automatically enabled the record button, but I didn't ask it for the plugin to, or it didn't prompt me that dialogue asking me what I wanted to do in the recordings. So it's a little bit, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes it shows the pop-up, sometimes it doesn't. And that's why you have to be careful about it. So how do you make sure that you are recording MIDI? You can go here to the record button, right click, and you will see that there's these options like automation, notes, audio, and clips. So you can always select some of this stuff. And let's say you want to record notes or just notes. Let's tick off automation and let's just have notes recording. And you also can record audio and clips. So if I now play something, let's do play now. And now I have the recording here. So that is that simple. First, you enable the keyboard and then you play the stuff that you want. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. You just have to now record whatever you want and you are set to go. And whenever you don't want to record anything, just click off the record button and then you have the notification, not the notification, but you have what you recorded. That's it. That's simple and that's nice. So I hope that answered the question. Just a quick announcement, guys. I will be doing these live streams every single Saturday at around 6 p.m. GMT +2, which is the Berlin time or Stuttgart time if you search for it on Google, and you will find it. And I will be collecting your questions, so you can put questions in the chat. If you have any questions regarding music production, I will see them in the chat and then I will answer them here in FL Studio. And it doesn't have to be FL Studio. If it's questions regarding music production that are not specific to FL Studio, I can also answer them. I have Studio One, I have Pro Tools, and I have Ableton Live. So I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on in the DAWs. And I'm also a software engineer, so I understand and I work with audio. So I understand the background or what's happening in the, backstage of these DAWs. So that's it. So my announcement was that every question that you have, you can send them here to the chat and I will answer them, and I can answer them. So I will be doing these live streams every Saturday. Let's go to the next question. And this is something that took me a while to figure it out, which is why my swing is not working. So you have in FL Studio the swing option, and there's several ways to make swing, to make your drums or your instrumentals or whatever you recorded with some swing. But the most common one is with the swing knob. So we have here this knob here. Let me actually put a new project. So we have the swing knob here. And let's say you put a lot of swing on something and the swing doesn't do anything. So first of all, let's see what is the swing. Let's bring here some FPC and let's load here a kit. I have one of the kits from, let's go with kit 10. Okay, so let's do this with this kick and snare. Okay, let's do something like that. Let's make the kick with the right velocity and the snare. Let's do this one, and let's put another snare there and another kick here and maybe another kick there. So if I play this now, let's actually put this at 90 BPMs. So it sounds good, but now if we start adding some swing, you will see that the feeling changes a little bit. especially in the offbeat notes, like these notes here. What's happening? So try to memorize that mode. So now let's do the same thing manually. Let's add the swing manually. So what we can do is move these notes a little bit to the left, to the right actually. This is what was the swing knob was doing. Okay, let's move it to the original place. So let's do again with the swing knob. This is basically shifting the notes a little bit to the right, or the amount that you ask for here. But there's an option to, even having this swing knob here, you can not have swing applied to your instrument. So there's an option here in the wrench tool, or the miscellaneous functions in FL Studio, that's called, in the time section, that's called shift, or swing actually, is this one. And as you can see, this is all the way to 100%. If I remove this, now we will see, no matter what the swing value that I put, it's always the same. If I make it more aggressive, like 100%, and then I apply the swing, now you can see that we start getting some swing. Let's remove it. So that's it. So if you don't see your swing options, or the swing that you apply in your track doesn't show in the, or you don't feel the swing being applied to all the tracks, that's probably why it's not being applied. It's because you also removed the swing here. So this is kind of a multiplier of the swing. So if you have here 50% and here you have 0, 50 times 0, it's 0. And if you have 100%, 50% times 100% is 50%. So that's it. And yeah, so this is something that I really like to use. I really like to use swing because I think it gives some really nice swing to the drums. And let's actually make this pattern here. Let's see. Let's use that hi-hat. One thing that can sometimes be hard when using swing is if you want to do some rolls. As you can see here, if you start doing a smaller roll like this, it starts to sound a little bit creepy. Or not creepy, but it doesn't sound good. But if I take the swing, the roll sounds much better, and we can still go here and add the swing manually. So this is the best of both worlds, is using the swing whenever you want by selecting the tracks and understanding what is swing and how to apply it. I like this drum loop. Okay, so I think that's it. Again, let's review the question. Is swing, if you have swing here but you don't have it enabled there, it will not affect the track. So that's it, guys, and let's go now to the last question that I have here. And we are already like 25 minutes into the live stream. I still don't have any viewers, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Let's continue this, and I will still be asking questions or answering questions here. If there's not too many people joining, at least I can answer the questions in my comments section, or I can go and check the questions in the comments and then answer them here. And whenever we start getting more people, I will start and answer the questions from the chat. Okay, and again, quick announcement: if you are seeing this video not in the live stream, but if you are seeing this, I will be doing more live streams, or I will be doing live streams every Saturday at 6 p.m. GMT +2, which is Berlin time or Stuttgart time, and you can come in and chat with me and ask questions and make sure that it's related to music production, and I will answer them here in FL Studio. And doesn't have to be FL Studio specific, but it can be music production specific, and I will try to answer the best that I can, either in FL Studio or any other DAW. I have FL Studio, Studio One, Pro Tools, which I'm starting to not use anymore, and Ableton. So I can work on any DAW, and I can answer your questions in any DAW. And if you have any questions, again, just leave them in the chat and I will answer them. So the idea here is to start to integrate or communicate with you guys better, to have a better feeling for what are your questions, so that I can help you be better producers faster. That's the main point of these live streams, and that's why it's called the Producer Show. In the future, I might want to start bringing some guests and start talking about music production stuff. But yeah, for now, I will be solo, and I will start building the audience. And whenever we have enough people, I will start communicating with other people to do some live streams and talk about production stuff. So let's go to the next question, which is regarding electronic dance music, more specifically EDM. And the question is how to do the pump effect for EDM. So there's first we have to say what is the pump effect, and then I will show you what are the ways that I usually do the pump effect. So the pump effect is an effect that you have mostly when at every beat, and basically it's kind of a ducking of the volume. So whenever the beat starts, on every beat, you will have a duck of the volume, and then whenever the beat is halfway or in two steps, you will have the volume rise up to normal. So this is kind of the pump effect, is like the volume goes down and then goes up, and this is what creates that forward movement, so that it makes the track do this kind of a woof, woof, woof kind of effect. And it's very used in basses, and nowadays pretty much in all instruments, to be honest. But yeah, mostly used in electronic dance music, especially for basses and kicks. So let's first try to set up here a project in FL Studio, and let's go and do some bass. Let's use 3x oscillator, which is one of my favorite tools to make basses. And I like to do this preset here, and let's apply a low pass filter. Okay, so we have a nice bass here. Let's use this low C3, and let's let's do 128 or 126. Maybe that could be a nice EDM tempo. Okay, let me see the volume. Let's put the volume to the normal. Okay, so next up we can use bring a kick. So for the kick I will use FPC, and I have a bunch of techno kicks that I like to produce here. So let's go with Berlin kicks. Let's see. Yeah, maybe not that. Those are a little bit heavy. Let's go minimal kicks. I like this one. And again, I'm going to more techno stuff, but this could be used in any, the concept is the same. And it's just a way to make the pump effect. But that's what usually I produce, is more techno when it comes to electronic dance music. So let's listen this part here. And actually, let's make this a 4-bar loop, and we can actually do kind of a progression here. Okay, and here we can go down, maybe to F. Okay, so this sounds more, a little bit more EDM, if I can say so. Okay, so let's now bring some chords. And let me see what I can, let's actually use a piano. That's probably the best one to exemplify this stuff here. So let's bring the piano up. Okay, and now let's do some chords with this one here. And what can we do here? Let's make this inversion. And let's copy these ones. Okay, probably sounds good. And let me see if this one sounds nice. Okay, let me see here. No. No. Let's see F. Or maybe we can do something. Oh, let's keep it like that. I think that sounds good. At least for this example. It's a very high variation. Let me see. Okay, I think that's good enough, at least to show the pump effect. So let's bring the kick here. Let's make the bass on track 2 and the keys on track 3. Let's lower the bass a little bit. Okay, so what's the point of doing the pump effect? Basically, what I want to do is basically lower the piano and the bass. So this is actually the bass, and this is the keys. And this one here is the kick. So I want to lower everything whenever the kick hits. And I can do that programmatically, or with the plugin, or with automation. So there's a bunch of ways to do this in FL Studio or any other DAW for that matter, but the concept is pretty much always the same, which is lower the volume of the track whenever a new beat starts. And when I say beat, is here, 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 and here. So beat 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. So let's create a new track, and let's call this Pump FX. Okay. And let's bring, the first thing that we have to do is, so this is the way that I like to do it, which is bring the tracks that I want and route them only to this pump effect. So all the tracks that I want to have this pump effect, I have to route them through to a single track so that I can apply the pump effect on that specific track. So let's route this to this track only here. And now I can just mute everything with this track. And now I can apply this pump effect here, and it will apply to every single track. So let's see. I have a couple of plugins that I can show you. First one is this air pumper, and this is a plugin that we can use. And as you can see, this is the curve that is applying to every start of the beat. We can also do that with, let's see, gross beat. And we can also do that with some compression. So where is compression here, limiter? Let's do that. So first, let's start with a pump, air pumper. And if I play now, you see that basically the beginning of each beat is getting lower. So if I take out the kick, this is the effect that I show you, like the so going down to high, or at least to normal, and ducking the volume of the starting of each beat. That's the main focus for this effect. I see here 3 people in the chat or in the live stream. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat and I will try to answer them here in FL Studio. So don't be shy, just say hello or whatever. And yeah, so let's continue with the tutorial. And so we can have here several parameters. We can control the depth of the pump effect. So we can control the attack time, the hold time. So if we want to hold it for longer, if we want to make it shorter, longer. Usually I would say the amount that you have here, it should also go normal there, something like that. Because this, whenever you bring the kick, it ducks down in the beginning. When the kick plays, it ducks down here. So that's the point of this effect. And of course, we can have different shape of curve, and we can have some shift and so on. So these are the curves that we can have. And as you can see, basically it's lowering the volume in this beginning part and then moving it or bringing it up to this section here. We can change the speed. We can, instead of having a fourth or 1 beat, we can change it to something else, and this will be a bar. 1/4 of a bar is 1 beat. And yeah, so this is one of the plugins that I like to use. Unfortunately, this plugin, it's a little bit messy. Sometimes it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So yeah, I don't like to use it too often, but I use it. And then we can do it in gross beat. And to do gross beat, we go here to this preset called sidechain. And this is very extreme. So if I play this, you see this is quite extreme. So what I like to do usually is go here, move it maybe to -5, something like that. Unfortunately, I don't think there's an option to select every single one or all of them and move them all at the same time. And also we can add here a new one. Let's change this to single curve, something like that. So this requires a little bit of manipulation, but once you have something that you like, you can just always save the preset as, and you will have that preset saved. So let's make it 6. The good thing about this one is that you can have several curves. So let's say that in this one I want to have a little bit more aggressive. So this can also happen. You can change the curve however you want. You can make it a little bit smoother here in this section, and whatever. You have way more control in this section here to make the sidechain or the pump effect as you like and as you want it to sound. So this is a little bit more complex, but it gives you way more flexibility to create different pumping effects, or different ways to, or have different effects for every single beat. Okay, this is another option, and the last option is using Fruity Parameter EQ, or Fruity Parameter, Fruity Limiter, and this one will be some sidechain compression based on the kick. So the first thing that I have to set up is to go here to the kick and send a copy of this of the kick to the pump effects channel. And to do that, you go sidechain to this track, like so, and then you see that there's no audio coming in. So if I take out the audio from the kick, let's mute this. If I play, nothing, there's nothing going into this pump effect, but it's going information. And when we have here, if I start bringing volume, you see that it sounds, it goes sound through. If I take it out, there's nothing there, but it gives some information regarding the kick. So now when we go here to the compression section, we have this sidechain box here. If I right click here, you can see that all the tracks that go into the pump effects channel, they will be listed here. And the bass and the keys actually are sending sound to this channel, but the key was not. So if we click kick and we enable this one, let's disable kick. Actually, let's remove it from the master. So we have the normal sound going on. And if I start lowering the threshold, we start seeing the kick information, and the kick was playing on every beat. So this is actually playing on every beat. And if I pause, let me pause here. So this is the first chord, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So means that we have 4 beats and is 1 bar. So this is how we can send a copy of the kick to sidechain any instrument or any channel that we want. So now we start decreasing here the volume or the threshold, and we have to increase here the ratio. And we are getting the same effect. So the same effect, as you can see, this, let me put side by side. So the same effect that you saw there, this kind of a curve, it's happening there. And now you just have to either increase here the threshold, you can go all the way through, but doesn't have to be. You can also put an E, which make it a little bit smoother. And you have to play around here with the release and attack. I would say the attack, keep it at 0. And then we can play with the release to make this. It's like playing with the release is like doing this. If we want a short pump effect, we make a shorter release. As you can see, there's shorter in this section here, in this part here. If I want to make it a little bit larger, then I increase the release. And now if you look to this section here, this one is way larger here, and you can see also in the curve, this curve here is way larger there. So this is how you can do the same effect with different plugins. So I would recommend, if you don't have Grosbeat or any other pump effect plugin, you can just go ahead and do that with a compressor and sidechain the kick to that compressor, and then you can play around with the threshold to make it very obvious. Let's make it a little bit like that. So this could be the same effect of the other ones. Okay. Sometimes Grosbeat is actually not so, how can I say, what's the best word for this one? Sometimes it glitches a little bit. So actually the most effective, I would say, is this one, the compressor with the sidechain kick. And you can actually go and do some something further, which is to have a ghost kick, a kick that is not playing anywhere, and you just have it for the sidechain. and then you have your normal kicks and the rest of the tracks. So guys, if you want to if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat. I see now a question from the Try Games Game Matt YouTube. Hi, welcome to the live stream. Do you know how to do the UK drill deep voice effect? I'm not familiar with this effect, to be honest. I will have to, if you want, give me some references. I will probably start looking at some songs and and try to get an idea of what is the effect, because I don't listen to UK drill, so I'm not familiar with the effect per se, so I cannot explain it. I cannot explain something that I don't know sonically. So, but if you can just give me some reference tracks, I could go and search for it, and the next live stream I can try to replicate that effect. And yeah, if you have any questions regarding music production, just leave them here. I will try to answer the best that I can. And if I can't answer today, I will do it in the future. I will do some research and do it in the future. And I will go live every Saturday at around 6 p.m. GMT +2. So this is Berlin time, which is also Stuttgart time. I'm not sure if it's Paris, but if you search for Berlin time, you will find it. And basically the idea of these live streams is to get your questions and answer them here in live, so that I can have a feeling for what are your needs, what can I help to make the how can I say, to make your productions better. And yeah, so Ayush Ahua, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry if it's not. Make some trap beat. Unfortunately today I don't think I will have the time. There's only 10 minutes left for 7 p.m. and I have some stuff to do afterwards. I still have to work out, and but yeah, I don't think today I will be able to do that. But I can make some trap beat in the next live session. And so where was I? This was just a quick announcement here in the sidechain. Yeah. So the other way to do this would be with automation. So let's listen to this again, and let's start doing some automation. So the first thing that I want to do is bring some controller, and this is a little bit more complex, but it's workable also. So let's use here the pick controller. And the pick controller, actually, I don't think I want to do it here. No, let's do it in the kick. Let's go here, controller, pick controller, and let's do. Okay, so we have here the information, and let's say now that I want to increase the bass. Actually, yeah, so this is not the bass. Let's make the volume a little bit, no, not the LFO, the pick one here, and let's make the volume a little bit louder. So now we see that we have this type of automation here, and we could go something. So what's happening here is that we have, this is recognizing the volume of the kick and is displaying it here. We also have the LFO that we can manipulate here and then apply an LFO curve to this curve also. But what we want to do is actually invert this curve. So how can we do that? Firstly, we have to make the bass at around 50. We have to decrease the volume of the, actually we can go bass all the way 100. And as you can see, this is actually the same effect that we have here for the limiter. So let me enable the limiter, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same effect, except that the curve is a little bit different. But we can play with the tension and make it a little bit less intense or whatever, and we can also play here with the decay to make it shorter or larger, as you can see. But this is kind of a triangle shape, so we have to be a little bit more careful. So let's use this curve here, and the next thing that we have to do is link this data to something. And we go here to the gain, we go to, for instance, Panomatic, and we go now here to the volume, for instance, and we link this to controller. And then we have this peak controller here, and the peak controller, what we want is the peak information. So let's accept this. And now this peak information is based on this value here. So if I reduce the bass, it's also reducing the value there. So we can always play here with the values, the tension. Sorry about that. And we can play here with the decay. Okay. So, as you can see, there's several ways to do the same thing in FL Studio, and this is just for two of them actually, or three. It's using specific plugins or using a... Actually, let me take this off because I like the most the Fruity Limiter version. So let's bring the kick. So this is the version that I like the most. I think it's the most it's the easiest one to implement, and the one that sounds I think it's the most reliable one and gives us enough controls to play around and have whatever we want. So that's it, guys. Let's go here. Thanks for the questions. Unfortunately, I was not able to answer them, but I will do that in the next live stream. And I will search for this UK drill deep voice effect. I'm not sure because I don't follow drill, or UK drill. It's not a genre that I usually follow. So yeah, I only listen to more like hip hop and EDM and techno stuff. But yeah, and make some trap beat. That's not the intent of these live streams. These live streams is to answer questions, not to make beats. For that, I have my other tutorials where I go about and show you how to make beats. But yeah, I hope this tutorial was interesting. I hope it was helpful. And again, I will be doing these live streams every Saturday at around 6 p.m. GMT +2, which is Berlin time. And I will be answer your questions live. Any questions that you guys have, I will be answer them here in FL Studio, or I also have other DAWs, so I can also show you in the other DAWs. But the main idea is to get a feeling for what your questions are and try to better serve you guys, try to make you better producers, and try to help you in this music production journey, which sometimes can be a little bit frustrating if you don't have the correct knowledge. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for all of your questions. Thanks for staying in the live stream and joining the live stream. I will be seeing you in the next one. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.